Hi ladies, in this video we're going to go through the answers to the Surds and Indices test. Some questions being easier than others, I'll probably just be able to talk through them, but those that need working out, I'll do them on the right hand side. Okay, so question one, first of all, square root of 100. Okay, so the square root of 100 is 10. It is an integer. It can be written as a fraction, which is 10 divided by 1 or 10 over 1. So basically the difference between a rational and an irrational number is, can it be written as a fraction? So if it can be written as a fraction, then it's a rational number. If it can't be, then it's an irrational number. So when you think about, surds, they are always irrational numbers. So in this case, even though the square root is there, the square root of 100 becomes 10. Okay, so rational number. Question 2, simplify the following. All right, when we're adding surds, you can only add like surds. So a like surd is when the number within the surd is the same. So here we've got root 13 and root 13. So they're the same. So we just add, how many groups of root 13 do we have? We have 5 and 13. So 5 plus 13 is 18. So we've got 18 groups of root 13. Question 3. Kind of similar, not kind of similar. It's multiplication. I really need glasses, I think. So when we're multiplying surds, and I might just do the working out for this one over here. So, oops, let me just get rid of that. Sorry. Sometimes it doesn't behave and it's a bit annoying. Okay, you can go. Bye-bye. Okay, so question 3. Square root of 12 times the square root of 8. So basically, when we're multiplying, a lot easier. They don't have to be like surds, but you do need to know how to multiply. So what is 12 times 8? So 12 times 8. Now, if you have trouble, I just separate it. 10 times 8 is 80. 2 times 8 is 16. So together, that's 96. Now, when you've got a high number, you likely have to simplify it. Now, to simplify it, you've got to ask yourself, well, what number goes into 96? What square number goes into 36? So if you're unsure what our square numbers are, they are 4. So 4 is 2 squared. 9, so 3 squared. 16, 4 squared. 25, 5 squared. 36, 6 squared. 49, 7 squared. 64, 8 squared, and you get the gist, okay? I'm sure you could keep going. So which of these numbers goes into 96? Now 4 does, which is good. 9 doesn't. 16, let's just check. So 16 times 16 is, 16 plus 16 is 32. Another 16 is 48. Another 16 is 64. Another 16 is 80, and then another 16 gives you 96. So yes, 16 goes in. 25 doesn't. 36 plus 36 is 72. No, so we've only got 4 and 16 go into 96. Now you've got to choose the highest one. Otherwise, we're not really simplifying. It's kind of like with fractions. When you're simplifying, you have to take the highest common factor. So here, we're taking the highest square factor. So the highest square factor is 16. Okay, so let's move on. So we've got 16 times. Now 16 times what gives me 96? Now I wasn't really counting as I went along before, but I'm going to cheat and I can see the answer over there is 6. But you can always check. 16 times 6 gives you 96. Now, the reason we do that is because we can now separate it to become root 16 times root 6. Root 16 is 4, and then we've got root 6. So your answer is 4 root 6. Now, you could simplify the square root of 12 and the square root of 8 and then multiply them. That was another method. So if you did that method, that's fine. But sometimes it's easier just to simplify once as opposed to several times throughout the working out. Okay, let's move on. Question 4. Simplify 8 root 3 minus 2 root 27 minus 2 root 3. Okay, so just like when we are adding, we need like surds. When we're subtracting, we need like surds also. So let's have a look. Now, I've got 8 root 3. That can't be simplified. Then I've got 2 root 27. That can be simplified, and we'll do that in a sec, minus 2 root 3. So basically, when I look at a question like that, I know that this has to be rewritten as root 3 if you're a bit unsure as to how to simplify that. So to make that root 3, you got to say, well, what square number goes into 27? It's 9. So 9 times 3 gives you 27. Okay, and you'll see in a sec that this will turn out to be something root 3. Okay, so sometimes at this point people can do it in their head. I'm going to show all the working out. Although I think when we get to later questions I won't, because we just don't have the time in the video. 2 times square root of 9 is 3. And then 2 root 3. Again, you probably are sitting there thinking, why does she do all this working out? Why not? Hey, why not? No, it takes a while. 8 minus 6 is 2. Minus 2 is 0. Okay, so we've got 0 root 3, which is 0. And I wonder how many of you got to 0 and just thought, is that really the answer? Okay, so something like that would be a good idea just to double check, because sometimes we get answers and we don't believe that they're actually the answer. But yeah, 0 is the answer. They will cancel each other out. All right, question 5. Simplify the following. So we've got square root of 27 times the square root of 3. So you can simplify the square root of 27 if you wanted to. We did do that before, so you don't have to do it again. But I'm going to multiply them. So 27 times 3 isn't too hard. It's 81. And then square root of 81 becomes an integer, which is just 9. Okay, so nice. Worked out nicely. Okay, rationalize the denominator. So we've got 6 over square root of 8. Now, rationalizing the denominator, the reason why we do that is because we don't leave a surd as a denominator. So to get rid of it, we multiply it by the same thing. And whatever we put on, whoops, let's just fix that 8. Whatever we put on the denominator, we have to put on the numerator. Now, the reason for that is because effectively we haven't changed it. We're still multiplying by 1. Okay, so when your numerator and your denominator are the same, it's just 1. So like 10 divided by 10 is 1. Root 8 divided by root 8 is 1. Okay, now we multiply. So when you're multiplying fractions, you multiply the top, so 6 root 8, and we multiply the bottom. So we've got root 8 times root 8. So we've got 6 root 8. 8 times 8. Now, once you're used to rationalizing the denominator, you know it's going to be 8, but let's just do the working out anyway. So 8 times 8 is 64. Okay, and the square root of 64 is 8. Now, I haven't checked all your answers, but I wonder how many of, oh, actually, it's a multiple choice question, because we do have to simplify. So you might sit there and think, oh, but 6 root 8 over 8 isn't there. That's because you need to simplify. Okay, so 6 over 8 can be simplified as 3 over 4. Okay, so 6 over 8 becomes 3 over 4, and the root 8 just stays there. We can't simplify that. Actually, we could simplify that. Oh, hold on. I'm moving ahead too quickly, aren't I? Okay, let's just go over here. We're going to write it again. Spoke too soon. So the square root of 8 can be simplified. So square root of 8 becomes 4 times 2 over 4. So that's 3 times root 4 times root 2 over 4. And then we've got 3 times 2, which is 6. And then we can simplify this. So maybe you didn't simplify earlier like me. If you didn't simplify and you just simplified here, well done. But silly me didn't. But that's all good. Okay. So we've got 3 root 2 over 2. So a bit involved in that question. All right, question number 7, simplify the surd. So the square root of 112. Let's scroll back down. So square root of 112. Now, this is a high number, okay? Remember, we've got to find what square values go into that. So we're looking for 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. What's the next one? 49. I'm having a blank. 64, 81, and so on. Now, if you're thinking about which numbers go in, this is an even number. So it has to basically have an even number go in it. Okay, so 4. Sorry, I was thinking about something. 4 now goes into it. The way I think about it is, does 4 go into 100? Yes. Does 4 go into 12? Yes. So 4 does go into 112. 9 doesn't. 16. Again, very difficult. So we've got to go through it. Now, I know from before, what was it? 6. So 4 times 16 is 64. And then if we added another 16, we get 80, then 96. That is 112. Okay, so 16 goes in, 25 doesn't, 36, so we're getting a little bit closer to the higher numbers. So 36 and 36 is 72. If we added another 36, is that 108? So no, and then we're getting too high. So again, 4 and 16 both go into 112, but the highest one is 16. So I'm going to rewrite 112 as 16 times 7, and then we just separate them. Let's put the square root side on. So square root of 16 is 4, and then we've got root 7. Okay, so next one, question 8. Simplify the square root of 180 by finding the highest square factor of 180. So 180. Now, I'm not going to rewrite the square numbers. Here they are. Okay, so 4 goes in. And I'm just going to cheat here because I can see the answer. But the number we're looking for is 36. Okay, so you would have to go through, just like we have been individually, working out which one would go into 180. Okay, so square root of 180 is the same as 36 times 5. And then we just separate them. So the square root of 36 times the square root of 5, and that becomes 6 root 5. All right, question 9. I'm just conscious of the time. I might do 2 videos, I think. Simplify the surd. So we've got 2 root 54. It's just reading ahead at the 5. Okay, so we need to simplify the square root of 54. It doesn't matter about this 2 and the 5 just yet. So I might just over this side focus on the square root of 54. So what number, square number goes into 54? Oh, I know 9 does. 9 times 6. Okay, and what does that become? So the square root of 9 is 3, and then we've got square root of 6. So I'm going to rewrite that over here. So instead of having the square root of 54, I've got 3 root 6 all over 5. And then I've got 2 times 3 is 6, 6 root 6 on 5. Okay, so you had to simplify that square root of 54 before you simplified. Okay, moving on to question 10. I might finish at question 10 and then do another video. Okay, so the perimeter of a rectangle, so it's a good idea just to draw the rectangle, an awesome rectangle like that. 5 root 3, and then square root of 12. And we have to do the perimeter. Okay, so sometimes we get area, this time we get the perimeter. So your perimeter is all the sides added together. So you're going to have 2 lots of 5 root 3 and 2 lots of root 12. So I can just write 2 times 5 is 10, so 10 root 3. And while I'm here, I'm going to just simplify that 12. So 12 is the same as 4 times 3, so the 4 because that's a square number. And usually questions are written so you have the same surd. So sometimes if you've made a mistake, actually, sorry, I shouldn't say you've made a mistake. If you think you've made a mistake because you have different surds, you might want to just go back and check. Okay, so now we've got like surds. So we've got root 3 and a root 3. So how many lots of root 3 do I have? I have 10 and another 4. So I've got 14 root 3. Okay, I'm going to keep going just because there's 25 questions and I may as well go halfway. Question 11. Simplify using the first index law. So 4a squared b cubed times 5a 4 times a b to the power of 6. All right, so we've got the coefficients here. So 4 and 5 is 20. And then I'm just going to get a different color because why not? I can. Okay, so we've got a and a and an a. Now we're multiplying, so don't sit there thinking, oh, but they're not like terms. It doesn't matter. We're not adding or subtracting. A to the power of 2. Whoops. I'll just leave it green. A2. And remember, when we're multiplying, we're adding our powers. So 2 plus 4. And it's an imaginary 1 up here. Oh, not an N, a 1. Sorry. Let me just erase that. Don't want to confuse anyone. There you go away. There you go away too. Okay, let's get the green back up. Come on. Thank you. Okay, there's a 1. So we've got to add that 1 too. Wonder how many people forgot that 1. Actually, I'm going to do B in a different color. What color can you be? Let's do pink. Okay, so then we've got B. We've got a B here and just a B here. So b to the power of 3 plus b to the power of 6. And then let's just bring everything together. So I'll get my black pen back. So what do we have? 20, a 2 plus 4 plus 1 is 7. And then b to the power of 3 plus 6 is 9. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Next page. Okay, question 12. When you've got a division, this is written as a fraction, but it's always so much easier to see it when it's written, when a division is written as a fraction. Sorry, let's get those words out. Now let's see what we can cancel. So b cubed over b cubed cancels each other out, okay, because b cubed over b cubed is just 1, so they go away. We can simplify the 3 and the 27 because 3 goes into 3, obviously, but 3 also goes into 27. So we're going to have 1 over 9. Okay, so 3 over 27 is the same as 1/9. And then we've got a, now when we're dividing, we subtract our powers. So it's going to be 10 minus 4. Now, we don't usually leave a coefficient of 1, so I'm just going to write a. 10 minus 4 is 6, and that's all over 9. All right, and let's just do question 13. What do we got? 45 y to the power of 8. So here is one written as a division, and it's easier to write it as a fraction. I think so anyway. So if you prefer not to, that's fine. So let's start with the coefficients. 45 divided by 9 is 5. And then we've got y to the power of 8. Because we're dividing, we subtract our powers. and we're left with 5y to the power of 2. All right, I'm going to stop there. 20 minutes. Awesome. Okay, so another video for the following questions. Bye.